Hi, Lisa Christensen back. I'm going to share with you some of the ideas that I've used Ranger Archival ink for stamping, masking. It's really a fun technique, and you can get a lot of bang for your buck out of one stamp and make a couple of different cards. Fairly simple and easy. So what I did was I bought this stamp from Tailored Expressions, and it's the Big Blooms Daisy, and I stamped it with archival ink. So instead of stamping it with black ink or brown ink, I used this pink peony one, and I've actually made 2 card panels already. So what I did was I stamped, I will show you, it'll be easier if I show. So I started with this, and this is a little bit taller, so it's like a ½ inch too big, but it's not going to matter. So what I did was I put my paper kind of in the middle of my MISTI, and then I put my stamp where I think I want it to be, and actually that part, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to put my daisy like right here on this corner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp it like I have, but it is going off the corner, which is exactly what I want it to do. You can always stamp it in the middle, but I'm stamping it on the half, and I'm inking it pretty good. You're not going to be able to see the ink because the ink is about the same color of the rubber, but the nice thing about the MISTI is you can go back and stamp again. So if there's one tool that you have to have, get Brushos and buy a MISTI, and you will be very, very happy with your MISTI purchase. I have not heard of anyone being sad that they have gotten a MISTI. Count to 5 or 10 or 30. You just want to get that ink really well, and then I flip it around to this side, and I have this nice little this is called what I would call a mask. What I did was I stamped it, and then I cut the edges off so then I could use it for and I'm just trying to find my edge where it is, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time. I think I see it. I think it's right like that, maybe, and maybe not. I see it now. Right there. There's my edge. Now I'm good. Now I'm going to stamp the same thing, and it will look like they are together, like they were meant to be together. And they make masking paper like it's a sheet of sticky paper, but I am not that particular with, especially with Ranger Archival ink. It doesn't bother me having just a plain piece of copy paper. So if I were to do this on my own, and that's still, I'm going to move this just a little bit that way so I get a little bit more coverage. I don't know if maybe I'm not inking it enough. I don't know. It's a process. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there's my 2 daisies, and now I can paint it with Brushos or whatever. I'm going to let this dry a little bit. Sometimes it's nice to just let this ink kind of settle into the paper so it won't bleed. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and start painting it. But if I was going to do this, I would stamp it on some copy paper, and it doesn't even have to be like thick. It could be like this. It'll come with some of this paper. You could just cut it off there's my stamp. It's not a great image, but then I can go in and cut around the edges and then have my mask. And then I just save my mask until it like can't be saved anymore. So I get probably about 10 or 12 uses out of this, and then I toss it. But that way I'm not doing it for every time I need a a mask. But it's a fun trick to use for florals and for landscapes, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to paint again the way I did with those tulips and the roses. So paint the background first, and then I'm going to go and then go into the daisies. I am going to use this leaf green, and again we're just going to control the watercolor as much as we can. So I'm going to start with my background first, as I always feel like that's not that that's the center point, but sometimes it's nice to have the background done so then you can worry about the focal point. And I think that looks pretty wet, and it's a quick, easy, one and done sort of thing. Okay, now I'm going to go to this side. I'm going to let this paint just kind of do its thing, and I might actually start. I don't want to get completely up. Oh, that's really pretty, isn't it? I just love Brushos. It's always such a surprise when you get those really pretty blending opportunities. And I did just grab a little bit of that pigment from over here, and that's okay. There, I really like that. When I think of daisies, I always think of like a bright summer day, so I'm trying to not overwork the background. Like in my mind, when I'm walking into this painting, I'm thinking, okay, I got one chance to get the brush show right, because I'm not going to go back in and mess with it. So if I know I only have one chance, I'm not nervous about it, but if you are nervous about it, play with this color and do some color play. Stamp an extra one like I did just in case, and that just brings your mind like, okay, even if I mess up, I still have another one that I can do right away. Right? And so it just changes the way your mindset is. Like, oh, it's okay if I mess up because I have one more card panel ready to go if this doesn't work out. And a lot of times I just have to smile when I'm painting and I'm ice skating instead of dancing, which I want to dance my brush and not ice skate. I want to have a nice flow, and that's not happening. I'm doing my little brush stroke thing. All right, I'm going to hope that I get a little bit more blue right there. And now I'm being fussy about it, so I'm going to walk away from that. Okay. Now, I know that I want the center to be pretty yellow, almost, but if you looked at a daisy center, it's never yellow, or sometimes it is. My daisy that I'm thinking of is a peach Gerber daisy, and it has a little bit of brown to it, but I think instead of it putting brown into it, I'm going to do New Gamboge yellow. And I'm going to go ahead and put the center in, why not? But I don't want a ton, and I don't, that looks really good. Yep. On this side as well, and I'm totally okay. All right, now the fun part is blowing off the brush crystals. All right, I am gonna paint this clean my brush, and then I'm just going to drag that pigment around so I get kind of a darker at the top, lighter at the bottom. Makes sense to me, so that's what I'm doing. Maybe it makes sense to you to have darker all around and then lighter in the middle. It's your painting, you can do what you want. Okay, now I'm going with the pinky red, which is the OST, and I'm going to add a tiny bit. I'm actually going to paint these petals outward, so I'm not moving my brush this way. I'm going to be moving my brush outward like the petals, and then I'm being very careful on the edges because I don't want the green to be in. And I'll do, I don't know, 3 or 4 sections at a time. And that's going to be too red. So I think I'm going to add just a little bit of yellow. Should probably add the new Gumbos yellow since we already used it, and I really love color harmony. I don't want it to be so red. I would love it to be like more of a pink color. So I'm really diluting this because I really want it to just, I don't want to overpower it. So I almost want it to just be a very faint, oh, that's a daisy. It's not, it's almost like a glaze. And I really like that. And when you are able to find that magical color, then you can just kind of go in and just start painting all of them. Don't forget the the very top. I think this is going to look like a really fun, I don't know, card. I have so many friends that love daisies, so I make a lot of daisy cards. I like them for thinking of yous, encouragement cards, feel better, you know, all those wonderful ways to send cards. I have yet to send a daisy card for a sympathy, but I might eventually someday. Hopefully not. I just think daisies are way more playful, and when I think of daisies, I think of happy memories, I guess, not thinking of you sympathy ones. Although I will do a fun, bright colored daisy ones for thinking of you if I know my friend just needs encouragement or something. Guess there's a flower for every occasion, right? I really like this as I almost see a little bit of yellow in it too. And you can spend hours creating the tones of the petals. I do not really want to spend hours creating those tones for the petals. I have lots of things to be working on, and my thing with cards, it always has been, is if you know what it is and you conveyed your feeling, then the work is done for you. And that's why I love having stamps with cards, is because the work is pretty much done for you. You're adding water color or pigment or whatever it is, whatever medium you're working with. Now, because this is pretty much a glaze, and I really like how this ink just kind of works its magic. It almost takes the color, like when I color over it, that's the color that the line is going to be. I think if you wanted to, you could totally use a bigger brush for this. And I always turn my page. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially when you're painting florals or landscapes. You can paint upside down or like away from you. I think you become a better painter. I really like those. Now what I could do is then sprinkle some of the sprinkle it. And I think if I did that, I would do the flash, maybe. The iridescent purple flash. It's always darker right up around here in the daisies. The line work kind of shows you, but it's also nice to kind of have that as a reference, because then you can use it to your advantage. And look at how bright that looks. I mean, it's just really a fun way to it's a fun way to paint. I do recommend a couple of books if you're looking for some brush handling techniques, if you want to be able to use your brush in a way that your brush strokes look more expressive, and that is to use the book that it's called is The Spirit of the Brush, and you can get it on Amazon. I found it on Half Price Books. Barnes & Nobles has it. There is my daisy. I'm really loving this. I don't want to mess too much with it. It definitely has this white peachy look with the yellow centers and then the beautiful background that we spent not very much on. Now if you really wanted to, you could add a little bit more of the pink around the edges, which maybe I will just because I can. But I don't want to overpower anything. Just to give it more of a dimension look. And then again, you're feathering it out so there's not that line, so it doesn't look like you just painted a line. Which I think I think that's going to look really neat. Yay! I love when good things happen. And I'm just kind of going with the line. I'm not reinventing more lines. I'm going with the lines that are already there. But it will give it more of an artistic look. There, I really like that. That just kind of added, and then I can go back in and do the same with this. So yeah, if you're looking for a good brush handling book, The Spirit of the Brush, and then just practicing and making your brush feel like it's part of you. So meaning my brush and my hands and my mind, they all work together to produce this one goal. I'm not like I know exactly how my brush moves. I know exactly how I can make these lines because I've put in the time to play with that brush. So there we go. I think this is gonna look gorgeous. It does look gorgeous already. I don't want to do anything more to it. So there you go. That is a really fun piece, and it didn't take too long to color, and I think we'll have a lot of fun with making that into a card.